Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, we'll be taking a look at Gyarados in the Open Ultra League. With the start of Season 9 of Go Battle League, Gyarados got a buff. Its Charge Move Crunch now has a 30% chance of lowering the opponent's defense. Before we hop into the battles and check it out in action, I do want to do a brief analysis taking a look at the Crunch debuff and its effectiveness with Gyarados. To skip the analysis and go straight to the battles themselves, I'll include a timestamp on the screen right now. Now, onto the analysis. This will get a bit technical, so bear with me here, please. Alright, Gyarados in the Ultra League is recommended to run Dragon Breath as the fast move, with the Legacy move, Aqua Tail, and Crunch as the charge moves. There are some situations, however, where a single Crunch debuff is not enough to increase the amount of Dragon Breath damage done to the opposing Pokemon due to how Niantic calculates damage values. Damage in-game is calculated by integer values, so no decimals or fractions, and any decimal points of damage are rounded down to the closest integer. In the Cresselia matchup, for example, Dragon Breath only does 3 damage per move, so a one-stage Crunch debuff, a 25% decrease in defense, would buff Dragon Breath from 3 damage to 3.75 damage, which still registers as 3 damage in-game, due to rounding down to the closest integer. So it's doing the same damage as it was before. So even after one Crunch debuff, Gyarados does not do any extra Dragon Breath damage to Cresselia. This is not consistent across all Pokemon, however. Against Snorlax, for example, a Pokemon with lower defense, Dragon Breath from Gyarados does 4 damage per move, so a single Crunch debuff does in fact cause Dragon Breath to do an extra damage per move in that situation, from 4 damage to 5. And in all situations, a Crunch debuff will cause the amount of charge move damage to increase by 25%. So the Crunch debuff is a definite benefit to Gyarados, but maybe not as game-changing as one might initially think. So now that we have crunched the numbers, let's hop into the battles and let's check out the newly buffed Crunch Gyarados in action. Alright, hopping into the first match, leading Gyarados into Jellicent. This is a pretty nice lead for us, and the opponent save swaps into an XL Greedent. Unfortunately, I don't have a clean response to XL Greedent, so I'm going to get some chip damage with the Aqua Tail, and now I'm able to catch on Desynced CMP onto my Lapras. They go for the Crunch, and unfortunately they do get the defense drop. This is not great, but I am able to sneak through an Ice Shard as my opponent throws the Body Slam, which, you know what, I will definitely take that, as now I'm able to get to 2 Surfs. And we should begin to start applying a lot of pressure to this Greedent. We're able to get the first shield. They keep over farming, so I'm going to go for the Ice Beam. This does do more damage than the Surf, going for the kill shot. We actually get both shields, which is huge, and my opponent switches out with a ton of energy. I have to wait for my switch lock to come up, but I'm able to bring back in the Gyarados, and we're able to save a Surf on the Lapras. My opponent goes for an Ice Beam. This is definitely a mistake, as in neutral situations you always want to go for the Shadow Ball, as it does get the same type attack bonus, so it does more damage. We're able to land the Crunch, which is very nice. Unfortunately, no defense drop. And at this point, I'm perfectly okay with letting this go down, as I'll be able to bring in the Giratina, shield once, and leave with a bunch of energy. So we are going to shield once here, and then they actually switch out. So they bring in the Greedent with loaded energy. They go for the Crunch, I'll let that go, and now I'll be able to return the favor and snipe with Lapras. We're going for the Surf, won't quite KO. I didn't realize that I actually had an Ice Beam loaded as well. I should have just thrown the Ice Beam there. But this way, the nice thing is they'll have to throw the Crunch to take me out, and I'm able to get some extra farm on Giratina, and they have a Talonflame in the back. And this team absolutely loves to see Talonflame. All 3 Pokemon do incredibly well against it. So anytime you see a Talonflame, it is a huge advantage for you and a massive disadvantage for the opponent. Now, all I have to do here is just watch for the catch. So I basically just throw after 2 Shadow Claws every time. The reason being is that's 4 turns, their fast move is 5, and that way they're never able to do a sacrificial swap. Again, we throw, they're not able to catch. We shield the first move in case it's the Brave Bird. We'll be able to take them out, and all they have is 1 HP at Jellicent left, and we're able to get the win. So right off the bat, not able to get any Crunch debuffs in that match, but able to get the win. Alright, hopping into the next match, we have Cresselia here. Now this is a pretty okay matchup for us, fairly neutral throughout. We're going to build up a bunch of energy and go for the crunch, hoping for that debuff. Crunch lands, we get the debuff, which is really nice. As I mentioned earlier in this matchup, unfortunately this debuff does not give us any extra Dragon Breath damage. As you can see, the Dragon Breath is still doing the same amount as before, but it will allow my Aqua Tails to do even more damage than before. So I am going to farm up to 2 Aqua Tails here, and if they decide to shield, I'll be able to win the 1 shield versus this Cresselia. So we're going for the Aqua Tail, and my opponent, recognizing they were going to lose Switch, does a very nice catch onto their Alolan Muck. So very nicely done there. And now we're going to bring in the Lapras, and we should be in a pretty comfortable spot here because our Giratina doesn't have to see this Alolan Muck, and that is a huge win for us. And my opponent builds up to what I believe should be the Sludge Wave, since they did sneak one through as they caught. It is the Sludge Wave, but Lapras is too bulky. We're able to survive that. We're going for the Ice Beam, hoping that Ice Beam plus a couple Ice Shards is enough. Ice Beam is, and just as they get to the move, they get taken out. And now, this way, we've given very little farm to that Cresselia. Cresselia comes back in, and we're going to be going for the Ice Beam here. And Ice Beam, we do get the shield, they farm down, and unfortunately this Cresselia is really close to a move. I'm going to bring in the Giratina, and they reach it. I really don't want to tank a Moonblast, so I am going to be shielding this up. And now they bring in Talonflame, and as I mentioned in Battle 1, Talonflame is a huge advantage for us. I try and catch, not quite able to catch, but the threat of an Aqua Tail, and them not going to be able to incinerate me down. They're forced to throw anyway, and the beauty of this matchup is even after they've boosted one time, Giratina at this health still tanks a Brave Bird, so we're in a really comfortable position in this match. We'll be going for the Dragon Claw right before they reach that Brave Bird. This Brave Bird will not take us out, then all we have to do is farm down and leave with a move to throw at the Cresselia, and it's going to be a good game. So we're able to farm down there, the bulk of Giratina coming in clutch, and Shadow Sneak takes out the Cresselia, and that's going to be a good game. So the Crunch debuff there was nice, but as I mentioned, in that Cresselia matchup, we don't actually get any extra Dragon Breath damage, which is definitely unfortunate. Alright, hopping into game number 3, and this is a pretty rough lead for us, as unfortunately, since we are weak in the lead because our Dragon Breath is resisted, and in the back with Giratina, we have to stay in. I do try and overfarm there, and they decide to throw, which is a lot better for me. I would rather have them throw instead of just farming all the way down and leaving with a bunch of energy to throw at Lapras, because now Lapras is able to come in, I don't have to tank a move, and I'll just be able to throw the Surf and take them out. And they have a Gyarados of their own in the back, going straight for the Ice Beam here. Crunch will hurt, but Crunch does not take out Lapras. Lapras is very beefy, and we'll be able to fire back with this Ice Beam. Ice Beam, we get the shield, and I don't want to get farmed down. We have to switch in our Giratina, and they have a Giratina altered of their own in the back. We're just going to farm up a ton of energy. We're able to sneak through an extra Shadow Claw, which is very, very nice. And we go for the move, try and execute Fast Move Denial. Unfortunately, we do lose CMP. That's where our 14 attack Giratina can hurt us a little bit. But now we'll start to unload some damage onto this Giratina. Again, we're able to successfully Fast Move Deny. That is very, very nice. We go for the Dragon Claw, and because of our Fast Move Denial, we're able to farm down. That is absolutely huge. And now we just need to unload a ton of Dragon Claws here and hopefully try and force them to throw onto the Lapras. So this one should be getting the shield. Over farm, we switch in the Lapras, try and scare them into throwing, and they do throw. That's very nice. The threat of a potential Surf forces them to throw, and we're able to reach the Dragon Claw. So even against a really rough lead, still able to get the win. You absolutely love to see it. All right, hopping into the next match. We have Gyarados into another Cresselia. Okay, again, pretty neutral. I definitely prefer this matchup if they don't have Grass Knot, because if they have Grass Knot, then they do end up outpacing us even more, and it gets pretty rough if you're the Gyarados. We're able to land it. We do get the defense drop again, which is very nice here. And my opponent actually decides to switch out. They save swap into a Registeel, so it could just be an ABB style team, or seeing that defense drop may have worried them, but either way, they give up switch advantage, which is really nice because we'll be able to align that Registeel with our best steel counter in Giratina Altered. Now, Flash Cannon comes through. That's fine. We can even take a second one here as we overfarm. That's the beautiful thing about Giratina Altered. Insane amount of bulk, so it can take a lot of hits. Now, we'll be going for the Shadow Sneak here, and then probably attempting to overfarm even more before we throw the next one here. We're throwing it. Oh, and they make an amazing catch onto Scrafty. Oh, my goodness. What a play by my opponent. That is definitely unfortunate. Here, my Giratina is low enough where I think the best value I'm going to get out of it is just to keep spamming out these Dragon Claws. I'm fairly low health, but counter is double resistant, so Scrafty's not going to be able to counter me down. They'll be forced to foul play to take me out. So I'm going to stay in, force them to empty some energy and foul play, and we've done a lot of damage to this Scrafty. We'll bring back in the Gyarados. Since we know there's a Ready Steal in play, we definitely have to shield the Gyarados. They bring in the Cresselia, and we're going to switch into the Lapras. At this point, Lapras has become fairly expendable. I think my win con at this point is basically just to save a shield for Gyarados and hope that Gyarados is able to sweep in the endgame. Moonblast comes through. They do not have Grass Knot. That is so nice for us here. I'm recognizing that I would probably lose CMP there, so I go for the extra Ice Shard. We're able to get it, and they land a Future Sight. That is unfortunate for us. Does extra damage, but we'll be able to throw the Surf and take them out. They probably should come back in with the Scrafty and attempt to farm down, but they actually come in with the Registeel. I realize they're probably trying to farm up, but I believe this is a mistake. Reason being, Registeel applies 0 fast move pressure, and they're forced to throw a move to take me out. So definitely a mistake by my opponent there, and now I'm able to bring in Gyarados. The timer comes up, they try and catch onto Scrafty, they fail the catch, and now I'm able to farm down the Scrafty, leave with 2 Aqua Tails. We're going back to back, and that is going to be good game. So my opponent played very well, but a mistake in the endgame allowed me to emerge victorious. Alright, hopping into the next match, we have Gyarados into XL Galarian Stunfisk. This is definitely not what we want to see on the lead, as Stunfisk is of course going to be able to outpace us to Rock Slides before we get to Aqua Tails. Here, what I like to do is I'll typically play out the Zero Shield, so I will be able to land a super effective Aqua Tail, and that plus the Dragon Breath should be able to get it to below half health here, as, ooh, perfectly overfarmed by my opponent. This Rock Slide will take me out, and I'm going to trust in my back line core pairing of the Giratina and the Lapras. They switch in Shadow Politoed. I'm going to try and catch a Blizzard. Come on, please let it be a Blizzard. Yes, we catch the Blizzard. It's double resisted on Lapras. That is a huge waste of energy for that Shadow Politoed, and that may give us a chance. Unfortunately, Lapras doesn't have a fabulous matchup here either. Best we can do is go for resisted Surfs, but the Surfs do start to add up on Shadow Politoed, as it's taken quite a bit more damage than the regular Politoed would be. And since they have Blizzard, they're forced to go for resisted Weather Balls as well. So this is definitely a matchup of attrition. Now my Switch Clock is coming up here, so I am going to overfarm, get a bunch of energy, and try and aggressively swap in the Giratina. Unfortunately, Dragon Claw doesn't quite take them out, and they bring in the Galarian Stunfisk. So seeing the Stunfisk again here is quite nice for me. I have a big energy lead. We're able to get a shield with Shadow Sneak, and unfortunately not able to get an extra move through as they throw. I shielded up, worried about the Earthquake, but they bait me with a Rock Slide. No, that is so unfortunate. We're going to be going for that Shadow Sneak, gets it very low. We just can't farm down. Now this has to be the Earthquake. We have to commit the shield here and preserve a bunch of health. Now, Politoed basically has no health left, so we'll see what they have in the back, and it's a Shadow Swampert. Now, Shadow Swampert hits pretty hard, but with only 1 shield and us having a huge energy advantage, we could potentially have a win con here. We just need to get the shield, land a Dragon Claw, and then snipe it with the Lapras. So we're going for the Dragon Claw, going for the snipe, but they recognize the snipe. They switch in their Politoed and they win CMP with the Weather Ball. I die with all that energy. We bring in the Giratina, and the Shadow Swampert does have an Earthquake. Is this going to be taking us out? Earthquake, we barely survive, and we get to the Dragon Claw. So an incredible end game there. So well played by my opponent, but we're able to sneak by with a narrow victory. Hopping into the final match, Gyarados into Shadow Zapdos. That's horrible for me. I'm actually going to save swap into Lapras since I do have 2 better responses to a Shadow Zapdos. So we're going to save swap into our soft counter, which is our Lapras, and we bait out our Registeel. And honestly, I'm okay with seeing a Registeel here. Lapras does okay versus Registeel in the Zero Shield, and I'm hoping that they see this as a pretty good matchup and try and overfarm. Because if they overfarm, I should be able to reach a 3rd Surf, and that should put it into a range where Gyarados can farm down. Because Gyarados is going to be resisting all of the charge moves from Registeel, the Focus Blast, and the Flash Cannon, so we should be in a pretty good spot here. Lapras goes down, we're going to bring in the Gyarados, commit all the way to the farm down, and that way we'll have energy to force some shields off this Shadow Zapdos. They go for the Focus Blast, and they actually give up Switch. They switch in the Zapdos, they don't want to get farmed down. We're able to get a shield with the Aqua Tail, and now we're able to get the alignment that we want. We have Giratina on the Shadow Zapdos. Now, Giratina is pretty tanky, but Shadow Zapdos, these Drill Pecks do a solid chunk of damage to us. I do want to try and preserve some health. We are going to be shielding up the Drill Peck and building up a ton of extra energy. And now we're going for the Dragon Claw. That does get it very low. I throw one more. I believe if I farmed even one further, then we would have lost CMP. We're able to take it out, and they have a Cresselia in the back. So this is actually doable. From a hard counter lead, we may have a shot here. Giratina able to tank a Moonblast. They try and sack onto Registeel. They fail the catch. We bring in Gyarados. We farm all the way down. And this is a good spot where we need to try and get a Crunch debuff. Of course, Crunch doesn't allow us to do any extra Dragon Breath damage, but it will allow the Shadow Sneaks from Giratina to do extra damage. So that's exactly what we need to do. We're shielding up the Moonblast. Come on, just get us there. This Crunch will be doing big damage, and from here, we should be in a pretty good spot. We land the Crunch. Unfortunately, no debuff there. They're forced to throw just before we get to the Aqua Tail, and we have the move loaded. Giratina does win CMP, and we are going to be able to take this match. So an incredibly rough lead and swap, but Giratina able to clutch it for us in a big way. So in conclusion, Gyarados in the Open Ultra League, now that it has the buffed move of Crunch, it definitely does give it some extra play. I'll be honest, I'm a little disappointed that it doesn't improve some of its meta matchups versus mons like Cresselia, but all in all, it is a general improvement and definitely does give it some extra play. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.